And so my mother did aarti to Shri Mataji before leaving, and then somebody offered a flower. So I thought, okay, this is a good idea. I'll also take one flower. And I went again in front of Shri Mataji because I really wanted, to have some guidance from her. And then when I went with the flower, she looked at me, she smiled, and she said, "Oh, okay. So, so you are doing your 12th exams this year." I said, "Yes, Shri Mataji. So what do you want to do?" So I said, "Shri Mataji, I want to study medicine." She said, "You want to study medicine?" I said, "Yes, Shri Mataji. My both elder brothers, they were studying medicine, so I also want to study." And she looked at me and she said, "What kind of medicine you want to study?" And I said, "Shri Mataji, that I don't know. I really don't know. You know that, you know." What is good, I'm supposed to do. Then she closed her eyes and she said, "You will do Ayurveda. You will study Ayurveda."
So, hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Sahaj Times podcast. My name is Lele. I'm the host of this podcast, and with me, as always, Fabrizio. How are you, Fabrizio?
Good, good. Hello, Lele. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be here. So, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm a little bit worried about the previous episode because I noticed that maybe we made a huge mistake.
Really? What did you
Yes,
do?
because we were talking about the Navaratri and the Devi Matmyam, and we mentioned some demons, and we said their names without saying Mardini at the end. So I don't think we mentioned them. I think we were summoning them, which is which is kind of weird. But if you're watching the Navaratri Puja again after this episode, keep in mind that just say Mardini every time we name, for example, Mahishasura Mardini or Chandamunda Mardini twice.
It's a very good point to
But
spell.
physically, I'm not doing really good.
What happened today?
And because today is Sunday and there was a really important football match, the
Really?
derby, the
I
derby
would
in
have no
Rome.
idea. I would
Don't
have no
say
idea.
really. And I know you know it clearly because you're not doing good. But we won. We won. The only thing is that during the entire match, I was feeling a huge block in my stomach. Like I couldn't eat.
Like
And that's so weird
physically,
for me. That's really weird.
physically, you felt tense in the stomach.
Yes. So I was like, okay, this is giving some problems in my nabi or in the void, probably. The same void that we have in the middle field, but this is a problem that the same void. And I was actually thinking I was actually thinking that maybe I can bring this to the podcast because I would like to ask you, how do you deal with your blocks in these moments?
Well, this is something that fascinates me a lot if you think about it, is that potentially we've been seekers for many lives, right? And all it takes is watching a flimsy football match for us to catch our nabi.
It
It's
takes nothing.
it's actually impressive, right? And we have lives of experience, So how little, it's a bit like being on a diet, right? You take
Yeah.
months to lose weight, and then you screw one night and you're back to where you were before.
You have to restart again.
So does that somehow connect to the episode of today?
How come?
How come? Should I explain?
Go for
Big
it.
old drums. So we are super excited for the episode today. This is actually, fun fact, I think is one of the few episodes where not one or two, but like maybe 15 people reached out to us. People that don't know each other, don't talk to each other, but they all pointed out of you should be doing this episode with this specific person. So I'm very excited because there's a lot of well, without putting too much pressure, but good expectation on this outcome of this episode. Everybody wants to hear about it. So today we are going to have Auntie Sujata from India/Italy, who has a lot of experience in Ayurveda, medicine, wellness camp, and we're just gonna share a bit of our experiences with her on how to clean ourselves, on how to work on ourselves, and how to conduct a healthy life in the proper sense of what health means. So let's welcome her.
Welcome, Auntie. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Shri Mataji.
Shri Mataji, welcome, Auntie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So thank you for coming, and thank you for bearing with our very silly introduction. I feel you're
Yeah, we were having a conversation before we started. It was really like really deep, really wise. We had to ruin it. So it's our job as a male co-host and host of this podcast. But first of all, Auntie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very well. Very well. Thank you so much. Very well.
it,
Yeah.
it looks extremely beautiful where you are. Is that sunny? Is that
It
sunny
is very, yeah, it is
day?
sunny. Yeah. Even if we are at the moment, I mean, at the end of September, it's a very sunny day here in Verona, in Italy. Yeah.
Such
Or
a bright,
more or
beautiful
less
day.
29, 30 degrees. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No wonder Italian people are always happy.
Yeah. And I remember mother saying, that the Italians, they have this big heart, that, I mean, yeah, no, but
Actually, okay, now I'm already going off tangent and off
Mhm.
topic, but this I found super interesting. 2 3 days ago in Switzerland, we heard this speech where Shimaji was talking about the season in India, that there are
mm,
6 seasons. And it was amazing how she was connecting that the the dharma of the humans affect the weather, and in turn the weather affects it. So she was saying because Indians are so dharmic and historical, have been that the weather behaves, which I thought it was such an incredible concept. And she's saying that's why you have 6 predictable seasons, and how that in turn affect you as a human and your dharma, and is kind of the cycle, right? So I thought it was incredible, and also made me think though of all the upcoming disasters and irregularity we're seeing in the weather, and
yeah,
how that could be also a sign of society today, right?
yeah. So though these are these six seasons, Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharad, Hemanta, Shishir. So these are 2 months, a season in India.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has such an impact on our physical, mental, and emotional body, So
Wow.
in Ayurveda, this is very important concept or important thing that we have to understand. When was the date of birth or month of birth is very important, because if we go then 9 months,
Behind.
back,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we'll see that our we call them at 7 tissues, plasma, blood, muscles, fat, bones, like that. We have 7 tissues, and they are formed in those seasons. And according to the
Wow.
season, yeah, if it is a rainy season, if it is windy, if it is cold, if it is hot, according to that we have more, like in Ayurveda we call Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, so maybe there is acidic or alkaline, characteristics in our physical, mental, and emotional body. So
Wow. that
that
is that is defined at birth in connection to the weather and the season of the moment.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, one of the aspects. Then our, psychosomatic constitution called as Prakriti depends on even, on 4 factors. One is the constitution of father, then constitution of mother, the seasons during the pregnancy, and the
Yeah.
emotional state of mother, and the diet she takes during the pregnancy. That has impact on the fetus, and that creates our psychosomatic constitution.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
yeah, we are part of nature, so it has a really, really great impact on us. And it is made up
Incredible.
of 5 elements. Our body is made up of 5 elements. So, you know, we are
but
truly
maybe
connected.
maybe can we say that if people want to hear an episode about how to deal with a Sahaj pregnancy, we could actually make it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, that was my thought immediately. Now I'm like, we need a full 1 hour separate episode only on this because it sounds amazing.
Yeah. There's so much to know, Ayurveda is really, Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word composed of two words, Ayush and Veda. Ayush means the life, and Veda means the knowledge. So it's not only a type of medicine, but it is a science of life, science about life. And that's why Shri Mataji wanted,
To promote it.
yeah, yeah. Especially, she said, in Western world, it is very important.
So
So can we actually, can I ask you, Auntie, to tell us a little bit about yourself? So now the podcast actually starts, but before we had such a wonderful conversation about this. And I would love to hear it again for the listeners because it was really, really interesting.
Okay, so I was born in India, and I was only 2 years old when my parents, in 1975, they came in Sahaja Yoga. So they were one of the very old yogis, and we were living in Rahuri. My father was a professor in agriculture university in Rahuri. If you remember, Shri Mataji talked about a few times, the research that they were making in the agriculture university in
Yes.
on the crops and through vibrations. Yeah. So my father was working.
That it was shown that the crops were growing better, or more bountiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that university is a research center, so they were doing research, and so Shri Mataji was to visit Rahuri every year. There were not many places at that time where Sahaja was, present. Mostly it was in Mumbai, in Pune, and then slowly it started spreading. And Shri Mataji was very much, related to Rahuri, as her forefathers were coming from Rahuri. And so, and it was such a, I was only 2 years old, and I remember mother coming at our place for lunch, for breakfast. My mother cooking for all the yogis at that time. Maybe only 4 or 5 Western yogis were there. Like Uncle Gregoire was one of the. So and so Shri Mataji, maybe I would. Share with you one experience of my father. I don't know if we are going too far from the main subject.
No. It's open. There's no subject. Go ahead.
So my father was, he had a problem with his eyesight and eyes. He had a terrible pain in the eyes. He went to many eye specialists, and they said that he had some degenerative problem, and he would continue having, a pain. It would go, further, stronger and stronger. And at certain point, he would lose his eyesight completely. And the story is quite long. He was in Kolhapur. He would go to Shri Mahalakshmi's temple and meditate, but then he was transferred to Rahuri in this agriculture university where there was nothing, not historically known as, Swayambhu of any deities. Now, after we understood, Shri Mataji told us that Shri Ekadasha Rudra Swayambhu is there in Rahuri, but at that time, nobody knew about it. And so he was quite upset, why, mother, you are sending me. He was praying to Shri Mahalakshmi. Why are you sending me from Kolhapur away, in this remote place? And then when he came there, and then he saw Shri Mataji's, pamphlet of the public program. And at that evening, he took his self-realization. He started meditating, and then my mother and, then we as a, I don't know, I don't remember, but, everybody started doing meditation. And I remember for the first time when Shri Mataji came at our place, so my mother had cooked, so many dishes for Shri Mataji, and she said that my mother is a Shabri, that lady who gave
Oh, yes.
the bears, the sweet fruits to Sri Rama. And
Yes.
so, yeah. So,
Wow.
okay. I mean, these are, many stories in one story, but
Of course.
but the point is that, so Shri Mataji came at our place, and my father, he had such a terrible pain, even though he was meditating, but he had still this, pain in his eyes and in the head. And so when Shri Mataji came in our house, he was still sitting in front of mother's picture, in front of the altar, and he was meditating there. And he was like, Shri Mataji, I can't face you, because I have terrible pain and I can't come and welcome you, So he was sitting there. And Shri Mataji came, and I remember, I'm doing namaskar to Shri Mataji, then going out, and then I would go again inside with someone else, do namaskar, going out like that,
Uh-huh.
And at some point, Shri Mataji told my mom, that call him. He's sitting there in front of my photo. Tell him I'm here because he prayed me so many times on a photo.
Wow.
That's why I'm here in person now. And
Wow.
call him now. Tell him to come. And he went and he just, did namaskar at her lotus feet, and she touched him. She worked on him, and she said, gone. It's gone. Nothing.
Wow.
No problem. Yeah. So, but the thing is that, so as I was saying, I was only 2. And I still remember that entering in the room where Shri Mataji was sitting, doing namaskar, going out, again coming in.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, and after many years now, as mother is in Nirakara form, you reflect on this. Why? I mean, introspect, why? What was that? What was the need for a child of 2 years, to
Yeah.
go and bow down? And I mean, she was not giving physically any gift or any sweet or anything, nothing was there. So
Yeah.
what? But that was the love, that was you could feel that she is the source of love. And you just wanted to be with her,
As
just
close
wanted to
as
be
possible.
as close as possible, And we all tried, to be in
Wow.
her physical presence as much as possible. Whenever by her grace she would give a chance.
And
And
I think what I've seen, because I think here is quite interesting for the children, from what I can see in the videos and what I've heard as stories, she was always very welcoming of whatever expression of innocent love in seeking her, even physically, right?
yeah,
Versus maybe with the adult, at some point we all needed to know the space and the distance and the protocol, and she will call you rather versus you going, right? But the
yeah,
children were always left so free to just go to her, sit with her. I have of course it's a very different type of story, but I have this experience once that I there was a period of time that I was having very often recurrent dreams with Shimadaji, and maybe once a month or something like that. And then for 2 3 months I didn't have,
hmm,
and like my heart broke, and I'm like, oh, why have you abandoned me? Like, and I was really, And then I had this dream that I was like, in the dream I was like 7 8 years old, and I would just run around the corridor, and then she was in the room, and I'll just peek into the door and look, and she was doing something, and then I'll run away, and then I'll come back and do it again, and maybe the third time she caught me, and I knew that it wasn't the right time to go see her because she was busy, but I just, and the third time she called me, and I kind of froze, on the door. I didn't know what to do, and she looked at me, she's like, don't worry, you're just a little child who wants to see his mother,
yeah,
and that's all right. That's fine. You
yeah,
can come,
yeah.
and I think, especially for children, that is so true. Any expression of love
Hmm.
works, of devotion, it's fine, whatever shape it takes, because they're innocent, right?
Is it the same also for newcomers?
I would
Is it
feel
like the
so.
same feeling for the people that join Sahaja Yoga like later on in life? Like they kind of start a new life, so they're like some sort of kids again, or does it also count?
Yes, of course. Yeah,
I would think so. Yeah.
yeah,
Even for us, no. I think if you think when you go and meet a new person, you really see them as a child, like whatever they need. Oh, I can pick you up, or yeah, you know, you're so eager to look after them. But sometimes they're even older than you, right? And
yeah.
maybe more capable. But in your eyes, those first 6 7 months, the new seeker is like literally a child of God, no, that just
Yes,
arrived.
yeah, yeah. That innocence, that innocent seeking,
Yes,
makes them really
yes.
childlike. And in Marathi we say Deva Bhakti Sa Bhukela, that God is hungry of bhakti, of devotion. God doesn't want,
Wow,
it's just
wow,
uh,
wow.
that loving, attention, loving, a devotion. So yeah, once you enter in that, then that realm, that then it's only showering of blessings and love and
Absolutely.
yeah.
And Auntie, so I would assume, let's say between 2 and 14, 15, until you became a close to teenager or a young woman, let's say, Shimaji might have come visit the house and how, as you grow up, right, as you're a bit older, it's around 10, 12, 13, how was your relationship with the visits, and do you have any memories? And uh, did you, because we had in January we had an episode with Fatima that she was telling about this. She's like, as a kid, you just feel the love for her, but your parents though know the protocol. So there is also a thing that you need to be taught what to do while expressing your love, right? Did you feel a bit of that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but in India, it was quite easy, to
Okay.
usually, kids, they are very obedient, and of course from within, we knew that it was so important, that mother's presence was so important and so precious, because it was once or twice in a year, you know and so we really wanted to enjoy each and every second of that. And
Wow.
I mean, I have two elder brothers and me, so we were, three of us, just, uh, obeying my our parents, and they were very, very busy. They were
Yeah.
very dynamic yogis. I when
Yeah.
I would come from the school, I remember that always we had, in India, before you enter into the house, you remove chappals, shoes. So we had like a row of shoes outside the door, because every day there were yogis coming for
Wow.
self-realization, and my mother would cook or offer something, and that was our way of, and we had actually in India, traditionally you do puja of the deities every day. So it was a tradition, it is a tradition that every day you clean mother's
Yeah.
picture, with the water, you wash her feet, and then kumkum and flowers. And so we three, we had like, we were, the days were, how to say, divided, I had like
Yeah.
on Monday and Wednesday, I would do the puja, and my brothers on other day. Yeah. And then then you wanted to express your love. So in India, in Rahul especially, we were in this agriculture university. There were so many flowers, fragrant flowers. So
Beautiful.
there was a competition in going and collecting the beautiful flowers, offering to Shri Mataji, then learned how to do rangoli, how to decorate, and that was our way of expressing love, for Shri
Yeah.
Mataji. And so when she was in the physical form, then it was, I think that was the only time we were allowed not to go to school. And even though Shmataji, I mean, came, she did a couple of, or maybe more, public programs in our school, so yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's also something I've seen in the SAHAJ schools, and I think it's nice what you said, which is the good innate behavioral habits, such as, for example, doing puja often, or do instill naturally in the child that devotion. Like, you don't really have to make an effort to teach it. If it's there as a habit and they go through it, they experience it, and then you don't really have to have fights over doing this or doing that, because they naturally get through it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I remember for the first time when Shri Mataji came at our place, as I was saying before, my elder brother was 5, then another one was four or something, and I was 2. And it was early morning. Shri Mataji came for breakfast. So my mother had, cleaned everything, she gave milk and breakfast to us, clean, wash everything. And she said, now you play, but don't get dirty, because I don't have any more time, because I'm going to now serve Shri Mataji. So don't disturb me. And that was enough for us. We played, we had such a nice time, but never disturbed, parents, because we somehow inside you had that feeling that, they are busy in doing something great. So, don't
You
disturb them.
understood the depth of the moment. You could
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah. And then, slowly, then I started helping my mother, my grandmother, most of my relatives from, my family members, they entered in Sahaja kind of very early, in 70s. So, yeah, everybody was working. And then I started helping, like bringing a tray of, a cup of tea, Shri Mataji, or,
Yeah.
and yeah. It was
Very nice.
wonderful time. Yeah. And then she would ask, then, how are you? What are you doing? What are you studying? And at certain point, I remember she asked me. I was doing my last year of higher secondary, and that was a very important year when you have to decide what university to choose. And I really wanted Shri Mataji to tell me something, and this was in Brahmapuri, in Satara, in Brahmapuri. And Shri Mataji stayed there for 4 days. Actually, there were many public programs and puja. And with at that time, I think it was 90. So there were many yogis, more than 250 Western yogis. Yeah, so it was big. Then by the time, from 75 that I saw for the first time, then
That grew.
it was growing. Yeah. And so, I had many opportunities to serve Shri Mataji, but somehow she didn't ask me about my education. And it was like, I thought, oh my God, if Shri Mataji was about to leave, and I thought, my God, now what I'll do, because without her, guidance. And so my mother did aarti to Shri Mataji before leaving, and then somebody offered a flower. So I thought, okay, this is a good idea. I'll also take one flower. And I went again in front of Shri Mataji, because I really wanted, to have some guidance from her. And then when I went with the flower, she looked at me, she smiled, and she said, oh, okay. So, so you are doing your 12th exams this year. I said, yes, Shri Mataji. So what do you want to do? So I said, Shri Mataji, I want to study medicine. She said, you want to study medicine? I said, yes, Shri Mataji. My both elder brothers, they were studying medicine. So I also want to study. And she looked at me and she said, what kind of medicine you want to study? I said, Shri Mataji, that I don't know. I really don't know. You know that, what is good, I'm supposed to do. Then she closed her eyes and she said, you will do Ayurveda. You will study Ayurveda. And here's a small story that, when she said, okay, you will study Ayurveda. And I was very happy, for me, it was so important that it was mother's, blessing.
Yeah.
And then while doing namaskar, I just, in my mind, I said, Mataji, thank you so much for this blessing. But I have a very good friend of mine, and she was studying with me, and she was also meditating with me, even though her family was not doing Sahaja Yoga, but she would stay at our place, eat, sleep, study, meditate all together. So she was like a sister for me. And So I, while doing namaskar, I said, Shrimati, thank you so much. But this friend of mine, she also really wants to study medicine, So if she would also, get an admission. And then when I got up, I looked at Shrimati, she was looking at me. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, okay, granted, given. And yeah, so there's something that I knew and Shmataji knew, nobody else, there are so many yogis nobody knew because she's antaryami, she knows whatever is going on in your
To this day, your friend has no idea of the torrent of blessing that have come through the discussions.
that's the compassion of mother, as you said, child, innocent child, if there is the innocence and then she's
Yeah, it's such an amazing story. I found it quite interesting because I never had such proximity to Shimaji, but I've heard a few yogis saying a similar story where Shimaji would sit with them and ask a very important question for their life. To some, even, oh, who do you want to marry? Something like even that intense.
yeah.
And they all reported a very similar sensation of what you said, which is physically she's asking me. And generally you would respond. But how can I respond when she knows and I don't? So it's this very, in a way, situation that is hard to decipher, right? Because
Yeah.
you've been asked something, but you almost be like, wait, it's an illusion, it's not real. She's the one who's gonna tell me, right? I
Yeah.
can imagine, though, it must be quite an interesting feeling, not to relate to her that way, right?
Yeah. But it was truly, at that time, the aspect that we could feel that was of more of mother, Then in
Yes,
the later years, we saw the aspect of guru,
the
But,
guru.
yeah. But at that time, maybe that period of time, that atmosphere there, it was more needed, and because
Yes,
uh, in India, in that rural part of India, people, they knew only bhakti, they have this innocent mind, and so they
wow,
could relate easily to Shmataji. And again,
connect.
yeah, again in Brahmapuri, once it happened that Shmataji was about to take her bath, and then she was going for a public program in a very small village there nearby. And so she asked me if I could take out from her suitcase a sari for the public program. And so she had one suitcase only of the, that white cotton saris she was used to wear for the public programs with the green or red
Yes,
border, so those were only
wow.
white cotton saris. And she said that, can you pick up one of the, sari for me? And so I opened that bag. I mean, the amount of vibrations, came when I opened that bag. It was
Wow.
amazing. And then I looked at the saris, and there were different borders, but there was one sari which had a very large border, large border like that.
Yeah.
And so I started touching that sari, and she looked at me, and she was sitting behind me, and she said, "You like that sari?" Yes, she went, "It's so beautiful." She said, "Truly, it is very beautiful, but I can't wear that sari today." She said, "Because I'm going in this very small village, where people, they don't maybe have food, or shelter, And if I go with the sari with a long, broad border, they will think that I'm a very rich lady, and they
Wow.
won't come near close to me. So take out something very simple." So I took out very
Wow.
simple sari with a very simple border, and that was her teaching, in small, small things. She taught what you should wear, when, So it's not you are thinking of yourself, but where are you going, with whom you are addressing,
Yeah.
what your way of speaking, way of behaving, way of wearing, also the external aspects. That one should feel that you are part of them.
How you make other people feel with your
Yeah,
behavior, with your
Not what you feel, what how you comfortable you are, but how comfortable you make others.
The
You know?
true compassion of
Yeah.
exactly.
And then the big border sari, then she wore in one of the, we had a puja, Shmataji's puja in the Krishna River there in Brahmapuri. And there is this photo of Shmataji where she's standing on a stone, her hands are open and she's looking at the sky, white
Yes,
sky with green borders. That's the big border sari. Then
that's
she
the
wore
sari.
there with when we did this small puja.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. There is a story that I found that few weeks ago, very interesting, about colors. Because
Mm,
you mentioned that she had a whole suitcase of white saris, mostly used for programs. In this speech, it was in the 78, I think, I was reading. Shimaji was saying, she was teaching the yogis how to become gurus and
mm,
how to give programs. And she was saying, as you progress, especially when you do Sahaj activities, you should go to lighter and lighter color. And
mm.
programs, you should wear white, a lot of white,
Oh,
because instinctively it will symbolize your purity and your innocence. So she was actually suggesting for people giving programs to go to lighter and lighter shades and possibly white. It was the first time I've heard that. I thought it was super interesting. And now
wow.
you just mentioned that she had a whole pack
Yeah,
of white saris. Very interesting.
there is so much to learn.
Very, very nice. So after that, Auntie, you started studying.
Yeah,
Obviously, what Shimaji said, right? How
yeah.
did that go?
Yeah, so yeah, I started. It was very interesting, very nice. I liked it so much. But then, after not even after 3 months or 2.5 months, Mataji again she came back to Brahmapuri, and so I had a chance to see her, to meet her. And then when first time she saw me, she had such a big smile. And she said, "Huh, so you got it, huh?" There is another story in between, but maybe I'll tell you one another time. Beautiful story. But she said, "You got it," and I said, "Yes, Mataji." And so she said, I had. I went inside in her room with a tray, with some breakfast, and that was a puja day actually. And so Shimataji, she was having, breakfast, and she asked me, so what? Tell me something about Ayurveda. And so Shimataji, actually, I'm studying only for 2.5 months. I really don't know much about it. She said, no, but you must have you learned something, you tell me something. So, so, so there is a part of Ayurveda which is called as a dinacharya. That means the daily routine. So Ayurveda explains you how should be your daily routine. That you wake up early in the morning, and at 4 o'clock Brahma Muhurta, you meditate and cleansing your sense organs, taking bath. There is a step by step that
A
you
whole, yeah.
yeah, and the cleansing of your senses, and this is very important part of Ayurveda.
Wow.
Yeah, to throw out the toxins. Early morning, it is very important. And so we were talking about this, and brushing the teeth. You know, so in Ayurveda, it is suggested that you use this neem twigs, or babul they call, or of mango, the small branches that you
Hmm.
you bite them, crush them little bit with your teeth, and that becomes like a brush. And then
Oh,
you
wow.
brush your teeth with them, because these medicinal plants, they have antibacterial, anti-inflammatory properties, and
Wow.
carries, so there are so many positive health effects of those medicinal plants, so you use them as a brush. And so I was telling this to Shmataji, and she looked at me and she smiled. She said, how much I would like to use that, you know.
Oh, wow.
But uh, in England, she was in England. In England, if I carry in my beauty case these sticks, they will laugh at me. So I have to use this plastic brush. So she made it so simple. She made it so
Wow.
practical. Everything she made it very practical.
It's incredible that she played that game with society. like to be part of it,
Yeah,
and to be with it,
yeah.
where it's incredible that game that she played.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very true. I mean,
Wow.
that, and I spoke with her. I mean, she was continuously asking me things, and it's again the example of a small child. It's like, the child who is going in the kindergarten, what knowledge the child can have,
Yeah.
small amount of knowledge, and
Yes.
you are sitting in front of the source of
Yes.
the sublime of the, I mean,
Yeah.
a source of everything. And you were sitting in front of her, and she went on asking, okay, then what else? Okay. And like that, we spoke like for 3 hours.
Wow.
And I was alone in the room with Mataji. And at certain point, I remember my mom came, and because there was a police commissioner outside with his staff, and they had come to see Mataji, and they wanted to give police protection, for the public programs around there, because there was some thing called as Blind Faith Association. They were creating some problems, and so they were there to meet Mataji actually. But then when my mom came inside and she said, Mataji, there are this police officer commissioner is waiting for you. No, no, she said, no, no, no. Don't you see? I'm busy. I'm busy. So it was me, so talking about this toothbrush and gargles and and, all those things. And but she continued. I don't know what she worked out, and
Wow.
yeah. And then again, after some time, my father came in and he again asked Mataji, I'm sorry to disturb mother, but there was, she said, no, 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 no. I'm busy right now. And that was the, and but then there was a puja in the afternoon, and but the story with the police officer is that then it was lunchtime. So Shmatri said, okay, now I'll have lunch. And then again they asked, and what about this police commissioner? I said, no, they can wait. They can. And then after lunch, they said, before puja, I don't meet anyone. So no question, meeting. Then there was puja.
Amazing.
And after puja, still they were waiting. And then when my parents told my grandfather was also there, he said, Mataji, they're still waiting. So really, call them, call all of them, give them food, give them this. She gave shawls to all the police officers, sari,
Oh,
wives, so that, that quality of, somehow the quality of a guru, that Shraddha and Sabur, that you have faith and patience, that,
wow.
yeah,
And then you get rewarded.
you get rewarded. That,
It
yeah.
it's amazing though also what you said about Shimaji asking you a question, because that's literally what we do with our children, no? Like they go to school and you're like, so what did you learn today?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, 1 + 1 is 2. And we're like, wow,
Yeah.
exceptional, and but this is the best way for them to learn, right? Is to tell you,
Yeah. Yeah.
going through their memories. That's how they learn, and
Mm.
sharing with you. And
Yeah.
that's what she was doing with you, the
Yeah.
training. That was the training.
And after all this, Shwataji told about the relationship of the physical body and the subtle body, and which is not written in any book actually, So
Wow.
how she told how this vata, that is air element, is related with the central channel, pitta, that is fire element, which is related with the
The right
rajoguna,
side.
the right side, and then tamoguna, kapha, water and earth element of the left side, and the chakras, and their relationship. So how these 5 elements are present in our physical, mental, emotional, and subtle body. And the
Wow.
subtle body is the root of our being. So if these 5 elements, they are in balanced state in on our subtle body, like Muladhara, which is made up of earth element, if that Muladhara chakra is good, balanced, and that means the earth element is balanced in on the subtle level, then it is balanced in our physical, mental, and emotional body also. So that's the basic thing, which only in Ayurvedic studies I won't
Yes.
study. It is not written anywhere. So she gave that deepest of knowledge after
Mm.
talking with me after 3 hours of
Wow.
Nice, small, things. Then
Wow.
came up with, she revealed, this, that meta science, you can say that.
Imagine how long that conversation would it be now. I
Uh,
mean, if
and
before
now
when
we
you were younger
have
it was
so
3 hours.
yeah, yeah. Many times you feel like that. Why can't we go like 40 years back, and then restart again? But it is. She was Mahamaya, So it was all under control. You would ask or say anything that she wanted, or so that even if today the things won't change if she doesn't want them to change. So yeah.
Yes. 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 Absolutely.
There is a sort of a pattern. I don't know if that's a pattern is a right word, but every time someone came here and talked about how Shri Mataji would answer to them, there is always a really, really short pause. And then she would talk. Like she would ask you something, you would say, I don't know, please guide me. Pause. Like if there is, I don't know what is going on, and then she gives you the answer. Is that right, or I'm just?
Personally, what I felt, when there was this pause, it was a time for you to take your complete attention on Sahasrara.
Wow.
That was the time she was giving you to get, because otherwise you are in this conversation, which is, gross conversation, which is
Yeah.
maybe, good quality, or, maybe you are saying some right things, maybe. But if you are on mental level, then it has nothing to, you are not then connected with absolute. So, as
She
we say that even if you are in Sattva Guna, but still it is a quality of the mind. So still you are on the mental level, even if, it is Sattva. So you have to be Gunatit, you have to go beyond. And so you have to lift your attention above that, And in her immense compassion and love, she would give that pause, she would give that chance. So lift your attention, go in
give
the
you the time to switch to superhuman level, to your Sahasrara, to
yeah,
absorb for real.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Very beautiful. And
And after that, somehow, at some time, you came to Italy because you get married to an
Yeah,
Italian
yeah,
Sahaja
yeah.
yogi, and from there is like another
And I think,
narrative arc of your life.
yeah. So yeah, again, the marriage also. She had asked my father to promise her that I would get married in Sahaja Yoga whenever it was, it would be a time for me to get married, and so it was promised. And so when I finished my last exam for university, then my parents thought that that was the good moment, for me to get married. And then Shri Mataji chose an Italian yogi, she said. And my mother was a little bit, I even though I had two brothers, but I'm the only, daughter. And for a mother, it is important.
big.
Yeah, daughter closer. So she was a little bit like, but Shmataji looked at my mom and she said, there is some divine plan behind this marriage.
Wow.
I want to take Ayurveda in the Western world, And then she said, anyhow, I'm not sending her in any other part of the world, but I'm taking her to Italy. And Italy is my house, I live in Italy for 6 months and she'll be with me, you don't worry, I'll look after her. And that,
Wow.
that also, she looked after me, she looked after my mother, So, I mean, she, at a time, she would look after and fix so many things, and yeah,
Wow.
so
But this thing you said, Auntie, now is a bit off topic, but I think it's so important because we did a few podcasts on Sahaj marriages as well. And I think this is really important. I think your generation and maybe the one also before the beginning were quite aware of the cosmic coming together of these marriages, which is you're not just marrying two people, you're marrying families, countries, karma. Like there's so much going on.
Mm.
And whereas sometimes now maybe it feels a bit more like, do I really like this person? Is this person really at my level? But without considering all the luggage in a positive way that comes with the person, right? Because as you said, sometimes maybe I actually had this very distinct feeling. Sometimes some yogis could be married to somebody who, at that moment in life, they're not spiritually yet at the level of the other, that maybe they're a bit lower, right? But by marrying them, you're really entering your destiny. By moving to the country or by moving to the family, you really are going to work out things in a way that your brain cannot understand. So you need to, it is quite hard because you need to go a bit beyond just looking at the person and be like, oh, do I feel the butterflies when I see them, and which is also as important, right? But to really understand that if mother is putting you together with somebody else, there's a whole destiny there. It's not just how well you match in that specific moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, in my small experience, what I always remember words of Shri Mataji, that there is some divine plan behind it.
Yes,
And if there is divine plan, we can't understand by our small, this intellect, or, we can't.
exactly,
The plan is so big, and if we really understand that this is all her game, she is the doer. Everything is, she's doing everything, and we are so fortunate that, she's putting her attention on us. So when we
exactly,
take that, then everything becomes, I'm so fortunate. So if it is divine plan, whatever it is, mother, I'm so fortunate to
exactly,
be part of this divine plan.
exactly. Maybe that's really, I mean, if we want to give, if one wants to give one advice to somebody who just got matched in Sahaj, maybe that's really the prayer, no? To bend down to Shimaji and say, please give me the wisdom to see the divine plan, to accept what you have for me, right? Which is again is not your mental
Yeah,
understanding of what's in front of you. I
yeah,
mean, there's even something Auntie Vittoria said that I always keep to my mind, because I know that when I got married in my match, my wife is much more evolved than me, so it was very easy for me to say yes because I could see the benefits, but I thought about it, because Auntie Vittoria said this is like, sometimes you might be matched to somebody that in that very moment is not at your level, but maybe in 10 years they'll be higher than you because the potential is there if you make the union work, right? So again, it's there's so many factors that you can really not understand, but
yeah,
to have that faith and to have that prayer that please let me imbibe this somehow, let my vibration respond to it somehow, right? And
yeah,
then the divine grants you that.
yeah, definitely.
So how was to move to Italy? How was the different life from India to Italy?
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, because as I was saying in the beginning, that Italian, they have such a big heart, and this Italian family, even if they are not, yogis, but they gave me so much of love, so that. And the thing is that, I came to Italy after birthday puja in Delhi, in March, and so at the end of March, and Shmataji then from Delhi went to Turkey for the Easter puja, and she came to Italy. So it was like I was here only from 3 weeks, and then we went to receive Shmataji at that time in Linate. She came in Linate airport. We went to receive her, and she saw me. She said, "Hi, you are here. How are you?" And said, "Shmataji, when did you arrive?" So I told her, "Shmataji, from I'm 3 weeks." She said, "How are you?" I said, "Good, Shmataji, I'm fine." And the question was, "How is your mother-in-law?" Is she good? I said, "Yes, Mataji." Is she good? She's looking after you? I said, "Yes, Mataji. She's very good." She said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, Mataji." And then she, looked at other yogis. She received some flowers. She talked with someone else, and then she again turned towards me. She said, Are you sure? So, she's really good. So yes. so, so should I not worry for you? I said, no, Shmataji. So should I tell your mom that you're fine? I said, yes, Shmataji. Sure. I mean, so many times she asked me, and I said, yes,
Wow.
Shmataji, everything is so good. And she looked at me and she said, okay, anyhow, you come with me now at the castle. You stay with me, you know. And that was, in Marathi we say maher, that mother's house, So she always,
Wow.
uh, yeah, gave that feeling, that protection, that love, that care for a girl who's getting married.
Wow.
Yeah. And definitely, when Shmataji was in Cabela, we had a great opportunity to serve her and stay there, with other so many yogis. So it was really a very blessed time. And then here also in Verona, I had really a beautiful time. So I had no difficulty actually in, getting,
In adaptation.
close to, yeah.
But
And
that's also something. Sorry, you keep saying things that make me connect to things that I've I feel some intuition about. That's this thing about the mother-in-law and the family, right?
mm,
It's such an important connection in the marriage. Like how, especially in Sahaj, because you go often to another country, to another collective, and again, you're not just married to the one person. You get married to the whole package
yeah,
of the country, and how well both the spouse and the collective make the effort to integrate, which is not always easy depending on the cultures, whatever. But it's such a key component of the marriage, successful marriage, right? Because you might get along together, but if you don't get along with the family,
mm,
things start getting a bit tricky. So I think Shimaji's also effort to really verify that things were well is the
yeah,
understanding of the larger collective uh, reality of a Sahaj marriage.
yeah.
That is a big component.
Yeah, and if we take it everything, as an opportunity,
Yeah,
maybe maybe it is an opportunity for me to learn something, to grow, more. Of
yeah.
course, there are difficulties, in many ways, there
In
can be,
every life.
yeah. But yeah, at certain point we have to see what is my, attitude towards it. If I take it as an opportunity that can teach me something, I can learn and I can grow,
Yeah,
then that makes more easier. Yeah,
he smooths things out, right?
yeah. Mm.
Beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful.
And so after staying with there with Shmataji, okay, so it was 96 when I
Yeah,
arrived in Italy, and here in my husband and other yogis, they had organized a conference, medical conference, uh, and uh, and I was supposed to speak in front of these doctors, and so I got so much scared. I was 23. I had no experience of speaking in front of people, and new language. Everything was new for me. But then I was with at the castle, and so I thought maybe as in the before when I was a student, Shrimataji always told me about Ayurveda, and she gave me some knowledge every time. So I thought maybe I could ask Shrimataji if she would give me some suggestions, some I mean uh, some knowledge. And but I stayed there for months, and I had no opportunity to talk about Ayurveda with Mataji. And at certain point, so the conference was at the end of the September, and we were already the Ganesha Puja. There was Ganesha Puja time, and after the puja actually. Shmataji called me to, in her room for some work, and so she wanted me to organize the saris, in the cupboard in her bedroom. And she asked me, "Do you know how to put the saris in the cupboard?" And I said, No, Shri. No. So she told me, okay, take
Wow.
the hanger, you fold this way, you put the petticoat, you put the blouse, you have to do, you put in the way that you don't see the folds, and then how to put them color wise, the importance wise, So she told me, and she said, got it? I said, Jish Mataji. So she said, okay, now you start doing. So there were many saris on the bed, and she said, okay, you start putting them in the cupboard. And to do that, actually, I have to turn my back, towards Shri Mataji, because she was sitting on the bed and cupboard was there. And to do that, I had to do, turn.
Yeah.
And in India, usually you don't turn your back towards no one. And that to Adishakti, I mean, it was impossible. And so I was doing like this, moving around like that. And she called me, she said, see, stop those protocols, there's no need of those protocols not to turn the back or give back. Do whatever I asked you, do it properly,
Yes.
And so I did that. I turned my back and I started doing, and I could feel that there was some work going on, from behind. I could feel that
Wow.
Kundalini working on me, and some work was going on. And of course, tremendous vibrations, And then when I finished, Mataji was still busy in doing some things she had many things on the bed, And so she gave something to me as a present, as a gift, And I did namaskar. And when I got up, I looked at Mataji and she said, there's something wrong. What's wrong? What is troubling you? Yeah. And
Wow.
so I told Mataji, these yogis have organized a conference and I had to talk in front of people. And Mataji looked at me and she said, you are going to talk in front of people? She had seen me as a while, for 2 years, and she
Yeah.
said, you are going to talk in front of people, and what? Shmataji, that's the point, Shmataji, I don't know anything. She said, and she said, Shmataji, the subject is Ayurveda, its origins, history, its relation with the yoga and Sahaja, and then self-realization. And when
Wow.
she heard that, she was like, she closed her eyes and she said, this is a beautiful subject, wonderful subject. And this is how you will spread Sahaja Yoga. And you have to do that. And she said that,
Wow.
and her eyes were closed and she didn't say anything else. So for me, it was like, again, it was for me a time to do namaskar and go out of the room because she had stopped any conversation. And so again, when I did namaskar, and in my mind, again, that antaryami,
Yeah.
that she's antaryami, she knows what goes on in your mind. And so while doing namaskar, I said, Mataji, if this is your, order, I obey to you. Definitely, I'll do that. But I don't know a single word she what to say. And then when I came up, I looked at Shmata. She was looking at me, then she gave this, beautiful motherly smile. And she said, you see, don't worry. See, all these ganas, they are standing behind you. They are around you.
Wow.
They will do everything, but you have to stand. I need instruments, So she's the doer. She's doing.
Wow.
But you are the vehicle through which that, knowledge, energy, whatever, love, whatever she wants to, spread, express. But for that, she said, I need vehicles. So you have to stand in front of people. Don't worry
Wow.
about it. And then, to my surprise, I had tried, reading books, doing, preparing some papers, some conversations, some conference. I was not able to do it for months. And to my surprise, in 10 days, everything was ready. And then we did this conference here. 150 people were there, many doctors, my in-laws, and all the family. They came for the first time because it was like I was
Wow.
only for 5 months, not even. And so it was for them first time. They removed their shoes, took their self-realization. Um, and
Amazing.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And then because after Ganesha Puja, Shri Mataji, left. She went. I don't remember if she went to America or to India, but then she came next year to Cabela, and then when she saw me, she said, "You did good job." So
Wow.
yeah, and this is how you have to do it. So that's what I feel, that she has given us our own professions, and we have to see how we can spread
Yeah.
uh, this knowledge. Of course,
And
through Ayurveda it is more easy.
and sometimes I feel it's really interesting. Something happened to me last week. You know what you described basically. Ultimately, you see, Shimaraji just gave you the 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 faith and the love in your heart to move forward, and then you did the rest, right? The information came, you did the job, and that's so powerful. Sometimes even among yogis. So last week something quite interesting happened because I was talking to a brother, and he was having some problems. He was sharing with me, and we spent half an hour maybe having a really nice chat. I'm like, oh, you see, this might come for this reason, and then we looked at the perspective of different things, and it was a very enjoyable conversation. But he was again still trying to assess the situation and view things. And then my brother-in-law came as we were talking, and he just looks at him and he's like, don't ever doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And then he left and he go eat a sandwich. but that very moment, that
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 was needed. Yeah.
that 40 seconds achieved more than the 30 minutes. And the 30 minutes was also useful, but that 30 seconds, the yogi looks at you in your eyes and he says, you are a highly evolved soul. Do not doubt yourself ever. Do not doubt. That intensity, that piercing love, it took 20 seconds and that was it. You could see immediately vibration just like exploded.
Mm,
And sometimes even we can do it among each other, right? That trust, that love, that open-heartedness really works.
yeah.
And it's a vehicle. It's really incredible.
Yeah. And that's what we see, that in the wellness camps.
Connecting to exactly, connecting to exactly, exactly.
So it's like, we all are drops of that ocean, which have all the capacities to become the ocean. But maybe sometimes we need that push, that someone has to tell that you are that drop, which is shining, which has, all
Yes.
capacities. And yeah, so
F- find that space a bit to support each other, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so I see that we are at 1 hour and 7. But it's I think it's flowing quite well. So I would say we can have another, let's say 10-15 minutes, and then
Okay.
we can also leave things for. I really think we need,
Mm.
at least for the things that I wrote down, we need a part 2 and 3. Definitely, I
Mhm.
want to do a few more episodes on this. But
Okay.
what do you, Lele? What would you like to, let's say, conclude with? Which topic can we?
So we can actually decide. We can actually decide because, or this one becomes a stories with Shri Mataji type of episode,
Yeah,
and then we do another episode just about the wellness,
yeah,
or we talk a little bit about the wellness just to give like some sort of final chapter to the episode, and then we can close it. And then Auntie, I think we're gonna
Yeah.
ask you to join us again, but also people, because
yeah.
Yeah.
so far it's been amazing. And we only asked you one question. So it took
Yes.
1 hour, so it's just like when you were younger. So Shimada, it just takes one
Yeah.
question to talk hours.
Okay.
I,
So you decide how to conclude.
no, I think it will be nice. What we could do is, we can do the next 10-15 minutes a bit on the wellness camp, which obviously is not enough, but it can be like a trailer
Mm.
to the next episode that
Okay.
can focus properly on that. So we can speak about maybe at the history of the wellness camp, how maybe you can say how you were telling us that you went to Vashi a bit, how that took place, the experience in Vashi, and then the transition. That there were very nice stories.
Okay. Okay, so we start with this that I got many offers, job offers
Ah,
here.
yeah, the story of the job with the money also. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Let's do
And
that.
there's
Yeah, yeah.
one thing that Shri Mataji had told me when I was 20, still I was not, I didn't come, I was still in India. Once she looked at me and she said, you will earn a lot of money, but don't give importance to money. Think that money is like a dust under your feet.
Wow.
And that was you have to remember this. And that's the thing that kept me, I didn't go, I didn't search for jobs, because
Grounded.
yeah, that's
Wow.
okay. But I don't know if I'll share this, but this is kind of,
But I think it's very, honestly, Auntie, it's very beautiful because I think nowadays, especially a bit of the young generation, they're having a lot of opportunities to pursue good jobs, which is not a sin. But I remember having this discussion with Uncle Matteo that was saying, look, you want to be ambitious, you want to do good, is also fine because you develop your right heart, right now be, but don't forget who you are.
yeah,
Don't forget why you came on earth. So it's okay to have a good
yeah.
job, but
I mean, she
maintain the
also
gravity.
wanted us, no? I remember.
Exactly.
I mean, as you asked, she wanted us to learn everything. You have
Yeah.
to have good jobs. You have to be uh, well established in family and
Yes.
in society. She didn't want her children to be like, that
Exactly.
very dignified children. She wanted,
Exactly.
so she wanted that. But then that there's this fine line between, that.
There's balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's say now you were in Italy
Yeah.
and you were looking for jobs at some point, or how did that
Yeah.
come about?
So yeah, I mean, I didn't look for job because somehow the word, I told you about this conference that we did,
Yes.
and so somehow many people around, those who were working with this alternative medicine field, they came to know that, I'm an Indian Ayurvedic doctor, and at that time there were not many, Indian Ayurvedic doctors as such.
Yeah.
So I got many offers actually. But every time I got offers, Shri Mataji would call me and she would say, no, don't work with this because they are related with false gurus, The
Wow.
problem here in West is that the Ayurveda was brought in the West by the false gurus, and they teach their meditation, they attract, the seekers through Ayurveda, through the,
Yeah.
physical problems, and then they go towards then the meditation or, so that was the basic thing. And really now what I feel that Shri Mataji, why she wanted to bring Ayurveda in the Western world, because as she said, this is how you will bring Ayurveda, Sahaja Yoga through Ayurveda, so that was the one of the the thing that could attract the seekers.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I got so many offers, and every time they would say no. And at certain point, I remember it was 98, and I got here, in Verona, I got a job offer which looked same, that they were not related with, apparently not with any false gurus, they were just a professional medical, they had a medical background and they were importing the medicines. At that time it was easy, at some point it was easy to import the Ayurvedic medicines from India here, and they were importing medicines, and they showed me the list of the medicines they had. It was like they had 800 900 types of medicines,
Wow.
which you can find in any Ayurvedic shop in India, in Delhi, so they said, we have so many medicines, and if you want, if you order us, we can, whatever medicines you need, we can import them. They had a very nice shop, and then there was this clinic. So they said, you can join this clinic. And I had my daughter, Siddhi, she was just 1 year old. And so I said, I had a small child. They said, don't worry, we'll look after, we'll give you a personal secretary, we'll do this, that, so it looked like, that I mean, I was not interested much in, the form of,
Yeah,
what they're offering. But the interesting thing about that, I thought that it was, somehow was possible
was
to
working.
working. It was working, and it was not related with any false guru. And but this was just, a primary the conversation we had. And we went home. At that time, we had not even the mobile phone, it was a landline. And we got a phone call. And Shmataji was that at that time. She was in Versiliana, Versilia in Tuscany. And she was having the public programs there. And so a phone call came, and that Shri Mataji wants to see you. And you come as soon as you can. And so me and my husband, we went there, and Shmataji was in the hotel room. And so as soon as they told that, we were there, Shmataji called me in. And I was very much surprised, that there was no reason actually for, to see Shmataji at that moment. I mean, I was a bit worried also, because, what I did, what was the why I was called. And and then when I went inside, right, I mean, I had traveled, I was in some normal Punjabi, I thought when I'll go in front of Shri Mataji, I would wear a sari. There was also a medical conference in the evening, so I thought maybe, that was the reason. And but then she called me in, and then I went in front of her, and I did namaskar. She looked at me, like a scan she did from up and down, like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And she said, how are you? I said, good, Mataji. How is baby? She asked me, where is she and everything. And then in straightforward, she said, you got a job? New job? And I said, yes, Mataji. I mean, I didn't sign anything yet, but yes. And she said, okay, so what is it? And I started explaining. And at a certain point, she said, nothing doing. You will not work with them. Not at all. She said,
Wow.
it is like a gold factory, you know. Uh, she said, you will earn a lot of money. You will, if you collaborate with them, you will earn a lot of money, but you will not come out of it.
Wow.
And something that she had also previously told me, that you have to think that money is like something, is like a dust under your feet. And at that point she said, if you collaborate with them, you will not come out of it, and because they are related, you don't know, but there is a relation, there is someone behind that, some fault. Yeah, so you don't work with them. And at that point she said, I have opened this health center in Vashi. So it was open from 1 or 2 years. And she said, Dr. UC Rai, he's working there. He's doing great job. And but he needs help. So you are born in Sahaja Yoga. You have studied Ayurveda. You go there. You work with him. Try to combine these two, science knowledge, yeah. And then we will open our center here in Italy, in Europe.
Wow.
And you go there. And everything was new for me, all of a sudden, everything was changed. And she said, but how you will manage with Siddhi? Who will look after her? And I looked at Shmataji and I said, I mean, mother, I don't know. And then she said, okay, I'll call your mom, Mrs. Kenjer. I'll call her. She will come with you. And she will look after baby. I'll call Dr. Yosirai, and he will look after you and baby and everything. And you go there and you work there.
Wow.
And this is how that journey then started, of the science that you knew theoretically, but to put in practice, and to see
Wow.
how really it transforms people.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It was amazing.
Two things on what you just said, I thought was super interesting. One is how crafty these false gurus are to take pure knowledge or knowledge that is beneficial to the and mask it with their activities behind, right? So you you get attracted with the bait of something that is actually positive, and then you brought into the cave, right? So I think that's one very interesting thing. And the second thing, what you said is so interesting, because we had other guests talking about also SAHAJ schools. And it was so interesting how your experience is the same, that when mother gave you a task, then she'll look after everything else so that you could do this task very well. I remember, even, I don't know, don't wasn't the podcast, but Uncle Robert was saying how when he went to Dharamsala, his kids, she was very worried. Okay, what are you gonna do with the kids? How are they gonna study? How, you have to be taken care of. And I think it's such a good uh, practice for us to keep in mind nowadays, because, for example, all those yogis dedicated to life, to Sahaj schools, to the wellness camp, whatever full-time activity, how are we from the bottom of our heart taking care of them? And they don't do it because they want to be pampered or helped, but it's our dharma as the collective to support the people properly, the people and the families of those that give their life to something that is a vision of Sahaj, right? And I think this is something that every story I heard, Shimaji was like that, full support to those who gave their time to Sahaja Yoga and to their family.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could feel that, even now, I mean, you feel that, that in every step, there's protection. Every step, there is a guidance. You are nourished, and there is so much to enjoy, actually, even if it looks like that you are doing something, you're working, but of course we don't do anything. But that is a great opportunity to enjoy ourselves, and
Yeah,
then to enjoy whatever is surrounding us,
yeah,
so it's a
beautiful.
great blessing. Yeah. And last thing I would like to add, that Shri Mataji had this, her attention not only for the yogis. So she asked me, for the to go to the health center and work, but then her main concern was also to open a center for non-yogis in Milan.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah, she wanted to open that. She said, we want to take our knowledge to others, because at certain point it was like, yeah, it is important that you work for the yogis, you do something, but you have to take it out, you can't just work for the,
Yeah,
I mean, they have already self-realization done, they have the knowledge, the path, and all the help that they need. But what about those who are the seekers? Those, they don't know anything, So her concern was that also. She wanted to
wow,
open in Milan, one center. And every year I remember she would tell me, I'm thinking on it. It is in my attention. I'm working.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
This is important to know, because who knows, huh? In the future is still open
yeah, I mean, and if those are the words of Adishakti, definitely it will become true.
at some
Definitely.
point. Yeah.
If, let's hope and pray that we are fortunate to be part of that, that her vision,
Wow. Yeah,
divine. Yeah.
beautiful. So, Lele, how do you feel?
Overwhelmed, a bit overwhelmed. But first of all, because I'm just a listener of this episode, because I don't feel like I have so much to add to this. But sometimes we do some sort of anonymous survey, so people send us like some questions, and we have to build some episodes on this. And many times, actually, it's actually quite common that people struggle with the decision of their career. Should I follow money? Should I check vibration when I'm like facing a transition to a company or to like anything else? And on my mind, I never like thought about feeling a vibration on this, because I have my answer and I will follow now. But now I'm just completely like changing my mind on this. And also the thing that you can grow up in Sahaja Yoga as much as you want, but at some point you have to go out there. And that's something that many Yuva Shaktis or people that just grew up in Sahaja Yoga actually struggle with.
Yeah.
And that was just like, and not a, that was like some sort of a confirm for me again. So maybe it can be really useful also for the people outside.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think maybe we can close it. I don't know if you, I think
Yes.
we can close it.
I will suggest, Lele, that the question that you asked right now, plus the evolution of, you know, maybe the experience with Vashi and the wellness camp that are now taking places, we use this episode as the jump board for the next one. So we'll keep those questions pending for the next episode with Auntie.
Yeah, sure, sure. So thank you really much, Auntie.
Thank
It
you so
was
much.
really, really interesting, and it was really also powerful, I would say.
Yes.
I enjoyed it so much. With
It
both of you, it was a really wonderful, wonderful time. Yeah.
It was really lovely, Auntie. Really, the way you shared and the sweetness and the fragrance of the stories. Sometimes we could really like almost feel like we were there with you, observing what you discussed. So, thank you very much for being here. And again, definitely within the next month or two, we'll do part two. And actually, maybe we take advantage of the situation for if anybody has a question for Auntie, ask it to us, and then we'll can make it also part of the next episode.
Okay. Thank you
So
so much.
this was Sahaj Times podcast. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Jai Shri Mataji.